This is wild. I haven't said this in a long time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a video on the Constructorism YouTube channel that is none other than Constructed Clash. This time, it's not Mason, it's not Matt, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the awkward Andy. What's up, Andy?
Yeah, AndyAWKWARD of AndyAWKWARD fame.
AndyAWKWARD fame. I should have introduced you as Pro Tour competitor again. Dude takes a break from Magic and just like immediately qualifies again. Just
yeah, some things don't change. I hope to keep staying on the Pro Tour as time goes on.
So this is a long time coming. You and I made a comment on my podcast that got a lot of flack. That I felt like that Spirits was possibly favored versus the wonderful deck that is Phoenix. You disagreed as along with others, but you did it in a nice way to the point where I was like, you know what, dude, let's do it. Like let's record a video. You happen to just qualify with Phoenix at the regional championship in Canada, the first one. Talk to me about like what you think how you think this matchup is going to play
out. So basically, the way the matchup plays out is really dependent on the mono blue player's draws. If they have a draw that can play a thing and protect it multiple times, or can just keep playing some good things, then they have a chance. But with, I think it's 10 one-mana removal spells from Is Phoenix, and the card Ledger Shredder is also a problem. And the Phoenixes, when they come back, being able to block. I think it's just too much to overcome. There's too much cheap interaction.
Yeah, so for me, I'll just say why I said, like, I for what it's worth, I'll say this right now. I fully expect to lose today. That's okay. I've talked to quite a few people about this matchup since I made that comment. I'm starting to understand where other people are coming from. The way that this matchup is typically played out for me is that you play a 1-drop, or you wait to play a 1-drop to protect it, and then the Phoenix player in game 1 basically has to either loop Phoenixes or take extra turns to win. And as long as you can try to prevent them from doing that, whether that be post-war games with graveyard interaction or witness protectioning those Phoenixes, those loops don't happen. And that's how I've won. However, in the games where you lose, it's pretty simple. You just get your guy killed. Then they start popping off with, just the right number of draw spells. Pieces of the Puzzle was actually not legal the first time that I played this. Was not the card in the deck the first time I played this matchup. I actually played this matchup against Expressive Iteration more than I played it any other way. So.
Yeah, I think the best lists were when Expressive was legal, had both Pieces and Expressive.
That could be true. I'm not a Phoenix expert, so that could very well be true. So we're not going to go over Andy's list because, well, you can just find it because he top 8'd the regional championship. My list is pretty close to Reed Duke's. The only difference is I have a Brazen Bar Remain, so that means there's one less on the board, and then I have an extra Witness Protection. So that's the whole difference. I think that I'm ready to jump in whenever you are, Andy. I actually don't even know if we are friends on MTGO right now.
I don't think so, but everyone already knows my moto handle. It's AndyAWKWARD.
It is AndyAWKWARD. Let's see here. I'm such an arena player now that I don't even remember how to use this client anymore. Let's see here. Add buddy. I don't need, like, the actual capitalization of the awkward, do I?
I don't know.
I don't think. I did not. Alright. And I'll edit out the stuff between the games.
Oh, we picked up the die roll? Oh, that's big.
That does seem big for you, for what it's worth. So historically, we've actually done these as best of 5s. But I think that a natural best of 3 is where this is.
I got time for 3 matches. Don't worry, we can do a best of 5.
We could do best of 5, three actual matches. That sounds... I'm
just gonna sweep you.
I actually have to record coverage for the CC Open after this, so we only have the time for one on my side. But if you're watching this and you like it, I'd love to challenge more from the First Strike podcast. They're really great. I just want to shout them out. I love Andy. KYT is like literally my hero. So if you like this content, leave a comment, let us know. We'll make more of this happen.
Take two, nothing going on here.
I definitely just tried to spacebar like an arena player.
Spacebar is pretty fun.
So that was a pretty good draw for us. By the way, I thought my hand was a reasonable keep in the dark. I don't know about you, Andy. I was definitely keeping as though I didn't know the matchup.
My hand I would keep either way, so
yeah. So Andy starts with Thing in the Ice. We once again try to arena that. I think I have my stop set correctly.
Let's see what we got. You're going to be drawing a card.
So here, I think we just bash. We obviously wish that we had a Curious Obsession. It would make this win, this dub, a lot easier.
From my point of view, this puts a Rattle Chains in your hand.
Yeah, I think that Rattle Change is definitely an option. I think that good counterspell is also an option. It's also possible that not wanting to tap out is. So
he's like, how do I talk about this counterspell without talking about this counterspell?
Well, let's talk about the counterspell now. I don't think that this. So the thing is that if I play this counterspell this turn, I'm okay with Andy having one Phoenix in his yard, and so for that reason, I'm gonna let this resolve. But that is a close one because I do think that it's one of the better ones that Andy could play this turn. And sure enough, he had the Phoenix. He's a good Phoenix player.
If I didn't have it, I drew it.
Oh, even better.
From my point of view, I don't mind taking these kind of chip shots or really fighting over this kind of stuff. Doesn't really matter. I have a Thing in the Ice, which is gonna kind of make the little stuff not matter as much.
Yeah, I think Thing in the Ice is also one of the bigger adaptations to the deck in not recently, but like since the expressive iteration stuff, where they were maybe playing a little less of that, more of like different stuff. Yeah, so on this one, we definitely don't want Ledger Shredder in play. So we'll go ahead and counter that one.
Hitting land drops pretty good for you. It's kind of like, obviously, if you hit too many, it's bad, but that's one of the ways you can like swing the matchup. Like, I miss my land drop, you hit your land drop, so I'm constrained on mana. It's a little rough, but
yeah, I think that certainly your Charter Course not getting you the land drops was not ideal. Well, it got you the Phoenix. It's not like your spells are extremely cheap outside of a few.
Yeah, I still put you on a Rattle Chains from my point of view. So I took Lightning Axe and Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, I could
and
show
I think
that.
I could just pass.
Why does it show me
It shows you all 5 cards.
I
'cause
know.
they'll
How do
reveal them
I
all.
get rid of? Oh, it's the X right here. I have to.
There's a little X in the top corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I have. You said you took Lightning Axe and Treasure Cruise, right?
Yep.
Okay. Remember that I have cashed my last 3 MTGO challenges by literally never playing this client.
Oh. A 5th land, that's probably not good for you. I feel like that's too many with like the lack of card advantage going on.
So this is kind of Andy's pop-off turn, in my opinion. Where if he gets to Lupus Phoenixes, it's actually pretty bad for me. Fiery Impulse targeting here.
Three cards in hand. Yeah, this is fine.
I mean, I feel in trouble here.
Yeah.
So the Treasure Cruise is actually a pretty big problem now.
There's the old Rattler. Yes. Now I'll flip my homie. Unless it's going to slip out the back himself. Oh, you're going to slip your own guy.
Yeah, I think the flying damage, right? Oh, you know what? Maybe yours was better. I think your line was better.
This is fine. Yes, it's all fine.
Yeah, I think your line was better.
Now finally I get to cast my Treasure Cruise.
Finally. Yeah, I'm gonna take like 13. Your line was definitely better. I'm just a dum-dum.
So there is like some thought to not attacking to have a blocker for the rattle chains, but basically the way the math works out, dealing 13 means that the Awoken Horror is a must chump or tap down with a Shacklegeist. Spencer only has 1 card I don't know about in hand. I'm comfortable if it is a Shacklegeist. I'd rather just try and put him in the worst possible position.
Yeah, that's totally fair. So if I draw Lord, I'll have 3.
It's 10, right?
Is it exactly 10 with a Lord?
Or is it? Yeah, I think so.
So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 11, right?
Oh yeah, because it is exactly.
Okay.
Maybe I made a mistake then. Because they're phased out, I am visually seeing the.
You're seeing the numbers wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Perhaps a punt.
I mean, I punted too. This is magic. Okay, so, Andy has so many cards. And maths is not on my side. Okay. You know what, though? I actually just punted again, though.
I was about to say, from my point of view, if you like, I wouldn't think you drew a land because you would try and draw a card to draw the Lord.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I already had the land.
That's why I'm. Yeah, so if you definitely should have drawn a card.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely punted again. Yeah, I think drawing the Lord there, trying to draw the Lord there was correct.
Yep.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
It was so funny too because I thought I wanted to draw the Lord until I drew my card.
Let's see. Just gonna go to combat.
So that's the reason.
AndyAWKWARD. Okay, get you nothing but that. Yep.
Yeah, I expect a Lava Axe here. Yep. Oh, we're popping off too. So how do you feel about Fiery Impulse versus other red spells?
Fire Impulse is the best. It's not really that close.
Why is that?
There's a lot of things that have 3 toughness that you really want to kill.
Cool. Oh, am I dead? Do you just have the time walk?
No, you're not dead. I don't have enough things in my graveyard for that.
Oh, this will be hot though.
I have to target your Spectral Sailors, otherwise you can like sack to the other one.
Yeah.
You have 1 card in hand, and I don't think it's a land. Well, I could start by cruising. I don't care about getting rid of my Galvanic.
Yeah, I think that's the game.
I'm gonna play super conservatively, just because I think I'm so far ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a fine way to go. I think we're in trouble. I don't really know what we can do. That's a problem. We really needed to draw Shacklegeist to win this game in our last 2 draw steps.
Yeah.
Or that Lord would have been ideal.
Yes, it's fine. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. No cards in hand.
No.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward that I had to try to trick you with the rattle chains there. But so I think we're supposed to go to 1 here. I think that it's really important to have as many attackers or things to do with oh, sick. Well, don't really have a choice.
Nope. So you're at 1, I'm at 5.
So I need to draw a bounce spell, a phase out. That's neither of those things. And that'll do it. I drew a counter spell.
Yeah, that deck does not like to be behind.
Honestly, that game was a lot closer than I expected, given the fact that you got Phoenix's back.
No, it was pretty close. I think I made a mistake.
But yeah, I definitely. I think that I was supposed to phase out your thing.
I had the spell pierce, that didn't matter, but
oh, that's fair. Okay. So for me, and Andy, I'd love for you to talk about your sideboarding after. On the play, I'm definitely keeping in Curious Obsessions. One of the cards that's kind of awkward in this matchup is actually Ascendant Spirit on the draw, but on the play, it's kind of okay. Here we have to kind of think about like, okay, what are we trying to develop the game plan to look like? So for me, you can't board out too many 1-drops, but Ascendant Spirit is like almost a liability in the matchup overall, just due to kind of how things play out. Ether Gust is a card that I know that a lot of people like to board in. As I'm looking at kind of how my sideboard lays out, though, I don't actually think it's like worth it, because it's most likely just going to hit a removal spell that's going to hit me back anyway. Mystical Dispute is a little more interesting.
that one should come in.
Yeah, that's a lot more interesting to me. Obviously, the Crypt and the Hearse come in. Hearse being one of the MVPs. Witness Protection, I like to board in for both the fact that you have the Thing in the Ice and other stuff. Thing in the Ice might come out for Andy, though, for what it's worth. So, Spell Pierce, surprisingly, I don't think is that great in this matchup, but you kind of have to decide, like, if you're going to cut this many 1-drops, kind of where you want to trim stuff. So for me, I'm going to trim Geistlight Snare, a Spell Pierce, and then honestly, I don't think that Brazen Bar is that good, so I'm going to board out that. Actually, we're just going to do this. What are you, Andy?
So in basically the rule of thumb is if the matchup wants to attack you, you should board out your Temporal Trespasses. So this deck does want to attack me with creatures. So I'm going to board out my 2 Temporal Trespasses. The Galvanic iterations get a little bit worse because you're taking out the Trespasses. And then the other cut is a Thing in the Ice and a Charter Course, so I can fit in 3 Brotherhood's End, a Rending Volley, a Treasure Cruise, and 1 Mystical Dispute.
Brotherhood's End is actually probably like a huge effing get for that deck, that you get a Wrath without exiling your guys. I had not thought of that before.
It's incredibly important in a lot of matchups. I've used it as just like Bad Abrade against Mono Blue Spirits in the regional championships. Just 3 mana, kill your hearses.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, legitimately, I had not thought of that card for that deck. That's a huge get.
Yeah. Well, I played 3, so I must have really thought it was good.
All right, this hand's a pretty easy keep, in my opinion. We're actually going to play right into removal here.
And I'm going to oblige. A lot of the time you just want to not set them up where they can just rattle chains you. That's fine with me. That's one of the reasons I was fine just popping off the removal spell.
That makes some sense.
Care if Spencer wants to hold mana up or cast something. I'm going to want to get my Shredder into play. So he has 4 cards. One thing players got to do more is just always keep track of how many cards your opponent has in hand. And you'll notice when a lot of great Moto players, you play against them in person, they will ask you constantly how many cards are in your hand.
Yeah, it's so funny too, because a lot of people will complain about it. They'll be like, you just asked me last turn. It's like, that's fine. I'm asking you this turn too.
I think this is a safe attack with my hand. No play is good for me there.
It tells him almost exactly that I have counterspell.
Kind of the death knell. A lot of the time, that's just one of the ways you lose. I'm not going to play anything into the hearse. I don't need to play anything at all. I have some land drops to hit, and I don't mind just going.
Yeah, I really needed to hit a land drop exactly that turn for this hand to play out the way I was expecting it. But I think that Andy having specifically Ledger Shredder there was a huge deal for me. That was a pretty big problem.
This is almost exactly how one of my matches played out at the regional championships against Mono Blue, where I just hit my land drops. They kind of tried to jockey for position a bit, and I was just able to not care about it. I'm going to cast the up now. That's a good enough card to keep on top. It's a tough turn for me. This does play around the counter unless you pay 3.
Yeah, I think the fact that plays are undisputed is pretty huge. It's almost worth it to try to dispute it so that Annie doesn't get to cast a second spell, though. But we're going to actually let pieces resolve.
Okay.
I think Andy would happily pay 3 for that, and then I'm just getting 3 for 1, which seems really bad in this situation.
So I'm going to cast my Fiery Impulse on the Supreme Phantom. The Unlicensed Hearse can eat 2 spells, but then it wouldn't eat the Phoenix. I can also discard another spell if I want to. The old Rattler. Yeah, that seems like the play for Spencer. I think I need this land. And I'm not going to bother trying to get the Phoenix. Does not matter.
You've only cast 2 spells, but this
I just don't need to. You're going to eat it, so it just doesn't matter for me.
Okay. The question then becomes whether we want to wait on this, and I think the answer is yes.
But you definitely
no, because it's already past your attack step.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So other lands. So you definitely have 4 spells in hand. An obsession. I think that's okay. Alternatively, how do I get blown out? How does this go bad for me?
I think you already correctly put me on a single mystical dispute for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you think I have like Spell Pierce or another mystical dispute?
Yeah, I'm gonna fire this off. I don't mind triggering my Shredder twice to be able to block. Another dispute. Okay. All right. That went okay for me.
Yeah, it went really bad for me. I actually have to pass
Shredder is really good.
And that Fierce Obsession, I believe, will fall off.
Yep. And
Brotherhood End will crush me here if he has it. Well, I actually should have responded to that. That was a bad on my part. So I had another line that actually played around Brotherhood's End that I should have thought of, where I could have played a Supreme Phantom instead of the Curious Obsession. And that was actually probably a better line.
Things would have played out really differently. Like I wouldn't have fought, I don't think. But maybe you end up winning that little fight.
I think this game is actually over with this 7-7.
It does kill people very fast.
Yeah, I believe that Andy has won. And that will do it on this one. Let's see. If they're gonna go this fast, I actually might have time for the 3 best of 3.
That's up to you.
Let's do it.
Sure.
8 to 18 months is my favorite. My daughter just hit 18 months, and she's already starting to...
Oh, we won the die roll?
Oh, man. Back-to-back die roll wins? I think this hand is a keep in the blind, but it is not a good hand.
Oh. I'm so used to open Decklists. We always just test as if we know everything.
That's fair.
My hand's a keep no matter what, so...
Do you have different... Oh, no, the other one was opt.
Yeah. I would play 8 Considers if I could.
I think Consider's hot. I'm really glad that card exists in Magic.
Yeah, it is cool. back-to-back game ones with the 1-0 thing in the ice. It's pretty good in game 1.
So
and it's pretty damn good against Spirit.
Here we're just gonna lead. This is kind of a hard turn. So here we're going to actually just lead like this. Being on the draw was kind of a death sentence with this hand, I think. But we'll kind of see how that goes. It's actually interesting. I have found that Pioneer and Standard have consistently been those two formats that, like, the player of the draw is so important compared to other formats.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't mind firing this off.
Now that I actually think I do remember Dex playing both pieces of the puzzle and Expressive.
I took Lightning Axe, Fire Impulse.
Thank you.
The reason I cast the pieces there is I don't mind Spencer developing the board because I can flip the thing in the ice sort of at will. And if it resolves, it's really good for me. And if it doesn't, I don't mind that too much. That makes it a flyer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the next one that's like the crazy angel thing. Oh, you cruising? That would suck for me.
Well, I didn't take it off the pieces, so it should be pretty obvious I have one. Slipping my guy out of the bank.
So the thing that this does is it allows him to Lightning Axe discarding a card, but it also stops his guy from flipping. And can you do both? Because that actually seems really bad for me. That seems bad for me. Okay.
So this on the stack, I'm just gonna kill it anyway.
That actually seems. I now will die. Why does F2 not know?
I don't know. I only use the 2 and the 6 button.
That's the same thing though. F2 is just the 2 button.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's just the old Moto version. I just put my keys to the old keys. Today I learned I'm a boomer compared to Andy, everyone. It was a huge blowout for me. The draw definitely lost me this game. So I do not believe that there is a comeback mechanic in this deck for this.
Yeah, my hand's 3 removal spells, so I believe you.
Yeah, we also knew one of them, right? So
yeah.
So we talked about that board plan before. I kind of like it. Just boarding out some of these, boarding into this, and this. Witness Protection, kind of the way that Andy's deck looked last time, actually looked kind of bad. It almost felt like you have to get a little lucky for Andy to play I've actually never played this card, and I'm using Reed's list, so I should read it. That is not in this matchup. Anyway, where Witness Protection actually does something, and if that's the case, it might not be worth it in the matchup. Like, it actually might be better to look something more like this. So I'm going to try this on the play now. We're learning on the go, man.
Hey, learning's good.
I think this hand is pretty bad. We're also going to correctly mulligan it. This hand is equally bad, but we are going to keep it because I don't think we can go to 5 in this matchup. What is it?
My hand's good. That's all I got to say. You hate to shock, but sometimes you gotta do it. No play or pause to consider, so they don't have a Spectral Sailor. I think Drago situations favor Phoenix, so I don't mind.
I agree with that.
You are hitting your land drops, which is good for you.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna stop pretty soon.
Wanderer.
The latest of draws. I was saying something about the mulligans. I think in something that was lost to the video, but I actually think that this deck actually mulligans pretty well. Oh, I see what's happening. Having Curious Obsession lets it mulligan pretty well, and the fact that it's aggressive a deck with pretty good mana also helps.
Yeah, Shredder's such a problem. You could have an answer, but it's just such a problem in the matchup. Yeah, that makes sense. Was curious why you didn't want to sack your Wanderer.
So, Shackle Guy's turns are interesting. I actually think I'm not supposed to attack.
Yeah, this seems like a fine one not to attack.
Yeah. No, we're in pretty big trouble to a Brotherhood's end here. Oh, look. Andy, what is it like to have it all?
You don't even know the rest of my hand.
I don't need another rest.
So good.
That is going to do it. Andy's going to win the clean sweep 2-0-2-0. I feel like I should remember your last name.
That's Peters. It's fair because I did change it, so. It used to be Rob Drop, and now it is Peters.
Oh, was that true at the beginning of First Strike?
Yeah, it probably still says Rob Drop on some things. It's a complicated situation.
Okay. All right. We are back. Congrats on the easy dub there. I have like quite a few thoughts. First of all, we just did an episode kind of talking about. Actually, I think it was our bonus episode of CC. So if you're a patron of $5 or more, you get access to that. we actually talked about Phoenix, and really one of the things that was talked about is it's kind of like it is almost has the same matchup spread in a lot. It has, well, a similar matchup spread as far as like number of 50-50s, number of good matchups like Black-Red, and it plays out a lot like a Black-Red deck in a lot of different situations. And this actually felt like that.
I think Phoenix, yeah, I get what you're saying. It sort of has game against a lot of random stuff. It has both a proactive and a reactive game plan akin to Black Red, but it does have some pretty polarizing matchups. And I think Black Red doesn't really have that polarizing of matchups.
So for this matchup specifically, it played out just looking at our hands, looking at how things played out. There were some key turns, especially the first match. There were like multiple key turns. In the second match, obviously, like game 2 didn't really matter, but like, you know, understanding sequencing and understanding like at high level play where both players know to play around certain things, breaking down things, understanding like here's what this turn is about, here's what these turns are about. It did feel like Phoenix was extremely favored.
Yeah, I think Mono Blue is one of the best matchups in the format, for sure. I think just the way that the games play out all favor you really heavily. You have backbreaking card, Ledger Shredder. If it resolves, you usually win the game. And then if they find a way to like jockey and deal with your removal spells, you have a bunch of like catch-up mechanisms with treasure crews and pieces of the puzzle that let you get back into the game. And so the onus is sort of on you to have a really proactive and good draw.
Yeah.
And I think Phoenix's average draws will just be able to compete and beat you anyway.
I think that's exactly what kind of how it played out, which is that the average spirits draw that doesn't have an early, isn't on the play, doesn't have, you know, easy protection into Curious Obsession, just is actually in trouble in the matchup.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't get ahead, it's really hard for you to get ahead later if you're not getting ahead in the first couple turns. And you can leverage. I think one of the ways Phoenix loses if they start missing land drops. And even if Phoenix has a lot of spells, you can overload them, and then all of a sudden your threats actually do matter if the Phoenix player is missing land drops or if the Phoenix player floods, which like opt consider decks tend to do sometimes. So those are the kind of avenues to victory, I think, for Mono Blue, but I think a typical game, Phoenix is going to win pretty handily.
So if people want to find you, talk to you about, well, a couple things. Anything you want to promote really quickly on the YouTube channel?
Yeah, I would love to promote the First Strike podcast is back. We're calling this like a new season of First Strike just because we took a hiatus during COVID. We weren't sort of sure the vision for the show during that time, and we decided to take a break. But we're back. Derek and I both top 8 at the regional championships. We're both back on the pro tour, and we've both been putting in a lot of work for Magic. And I think for myself, at least, I think I'm sort of at the peak of my powers at the moment. The results I've had with the amount of effort I put in is at an all-time high, and I think it's the best time to listen to the show if you're trying to level up as a competitive player or kind of get a read of the metagame. Especially, we're both super avid online players or moto players, so we're always a couple of steps ahead of most paper metagames. And I think it's great for that. So if you want another competitive Magic podcast, I recommend the First Strike podcast.
And if people want to find you directly, where can they do that?
You can find me at AndyAWKWARD on Twitter and basically everything at AndyAWKWARD.
Andy, you dominated a whole entire standard metagame, and I got to ask you, a lot of people, the numbers came out for players right now. Oh, overwhelmingly, people on Arena play standard. Have you touched it?
No,
No,
I don't play Arena almost at all.
So you haven't touched standard. So I can't get the.
I played standard.
Oh no, that's what I was going to ask you is somebody's playing a standard challenge tomorrow to prep for their next RCQ. What are they playing?
You got to play Grixis probably. So I played before Brotherhood's end. I was in the Playing to Mana Traders series to qualify for their year-end tournament, and I did qualify by playing a lot of the Black-White mid-range and Esper mid-range.
Yeah.
But it turned out that Grixis is sort of just better because Corpse Appraiser and Fable the Mirrorbreaker are so powerful. And with the Meat Hook Massacre gone, there's some like go wide white strategies and like white control decks that are starting to pop up. There are some of the Anvil decks going around, and maybe they're good, but I think Grixis is just where it's at. I think Fable is one of the best cards in Standard in a long time, as it's proved to be one of the best cards in Pioneer. It's a good card in Modern, and if you're seeing a 3-mana card get played in Modern, it's probably extremely busted.
Doesn't see play in Legacy and Mono Red too?
I think it might. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's a multi-format all-star. Yeah, I would just say play Grixis too. I've been working on Grixis with people. Thank you so much for doing this with me, Andy. If people want to see more of this, leave a comment. What else can Andy crush me at? Or, let's even the playing field. What can Spencer crush Andy at? Let us know.
Probably Smash Brothers.
That could be true. I don't know. Have you played Ultimate?
No.
Oh, you would lose very badly.
I'd try though.
It is a good time. If you want to find me, you can find me at Swiss30H. I do a deck tech every week. My deck tech is actually on Grixis. I'm actually recording it tomorrow. It should be up actually before this video is up, probably, just due to like my editing constraints. So if you want to see what I'd be playing, it would be Grixis. I'll have a deck tech up. Thank you so much, Andy. Check out the First Strike podcast, and thank you everybody so much. Head on over to patreon.com/ccmtg to support all of this content, and we'll see you guys all next time with another video on the Constructive Criticism YouTube channel.